And that. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
let me say again. Okay, so first of all, we said in the heart there are 4 chambers. The previous class, 4 chambers: right atria, left atria, right ventricle, left ventricle. Okay, then right atria separated with left atria. The separation of the right atria with left atria. What is this? Interatrial septum.
Atrial septum.
Yeah. The separation between the two ventricles is interventricular septum. The separation between the atria and ventricles is atrioventricular septum. Okay, then opening of the right atria into the right ventricle is called right atrioventricular aperture. Opening of the left atria into the left ventricle is called right atrioventricular aperture is guarded by left atrioventricular aperture is guarded by bicuspid valve. Right atria receive the deoxygenated blood from the body parts with the help of superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, which is collecting blood from the body part. Okay, very good. Next, left atria collects the blood from the lungs with the help of pulmonary vein. This is pulmonary vein, which we have seen in the previous class. Next, right ventricle pumps the blood to the lungs with the help of to the lungs with the help of pulmonary aorta. Next, left ventricle pumps the blood to the body parts with the help of left systemic aorta. That's sending to the body part. This is the things we are seeing in the previous class about the heart. That imaginary diagram it is, as I already said to you, hypothetical diagram, which the blood vessels position doesn't resemble the original. Just for understanding, we made our own course here. We made our own course. And now let's talk about some other issues about the heart. Some other issues about the heart. The ventricles. The ventricles are having the projections inside. The projections of the ventricles inside, which I am talking about, these kind of projections, which you can see in the diagram. The projections of the ventricles are called as columnae carneae. What do you say them as? Columnae carneae. The projections of the ventricles, which we can call them as columnae carneae. So these columnae carneae are going to be the ventricular projections, we can say here. Ventricular projections, we can say columnae carneae. In between the columnae carneae, we'll find some special muscles. We call it as papillary muscles. In between them, we can see the special muscles. We say them as papillary muscles. The black one, which I am showing here, these are the papillary muscles. Okay. So columnae, in between the columnae carneae, we can see papillary muscles. And what are these walls which we are seeing on the right atrioventricular aperture? What is this? Tricuspid valve. And what is this? Bicuspid valve. Okay. Now, these particular the papillary muscles are connected to this tricuspid and bicuspid valve with the bundles of collagenous fibers. This collagenous fiber bundle, we can say cardae tendineae. Cardae tendineae. That you need to understand here. Opening and closing of this tricuspid and bicuspid valve depends upon this particular cardae tendineae. Cardae tendineae is making. We call them as heart strings also. Heart strings or cardae tendineae are connecting the papillary muscles to the tricuspid and bicuspid valve. Let me label them also. Tricuspid and bicuspid valve. Okay. So this is tricuspid and this is bicuspid valve. That means here that it's a mechanical arrangement, we can see here. When ventricle contract, when it is projected like this forward, that automatically papillary muscles are pushed to the cardiac tendinae to close these particular valves. I'll show the video in the end. Tricuspid and bicuspid valve, columnae carneae or trabeculae carneae that we are seeing here in this particular diagram. I am going to show columnae carneae, papillary muscle, cardiac tendinae, and tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. The connection between the tricuspid and bicuspid valve to the papillary muscle, we called it as cardiac tendinae. Okay, so is it clear? Is it clear? Let me say once again, the inner surface of the ventricles is raised into the muscular ridges or columns. We call them as columnae carneae or trabeculae carneae. So they are projecting from the inner walls of the ventricles. So then some of these ridges are large and conical. That particular ridges were large and conical, the black one, that conical, and we call them as papillary muscles. Okay, then whose apices are connected? Apices means top, connected to the cardiac tendinae, which the cardiac tendinae is connecting to the tricuspid and bicuspid valve. So we get the question like that. Cardiac tendinae is present between. We get that kind of question here. Okay, so is it clear? Is it clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Yeah, we'll continue the anatomy, internal anatomy here. That we have a very interesting item that about the embryonic heart. Talking about the embryonic heart. During embryonic stages, there is above on the interatrial septum, there is an opening. We call the opening as foramen ovalis. There is an opening on the interatrial septum which connects the right atria to the left atria. This is right atria and this is left atria. Connecting both of them, there is an opening here. We call it as foramen ovalis. That we can say it as a foramen ovalis. And one more, post-caval vein. Let me show you the post-caval vein. Here in the post-caval vein, there is a valve called valve of Eustachian. The red one I am showing here, the valve of Eustachian. The valve of Eustachian is directing the blood from the right atria to left atria. I know it is confusing that I am introducing valve of Eustachian. That remember, this is fetal heart during embryonic stages. Fetal heart. In the fetal heart, some mistakes are there that we have to correct them. That means right atria blood, left atria blood should not be mixed up. But above on the atrial septum, we have a small pore that we call foramen ovalis. That is one of the mistake that is which we have. Then after that, we have one more, that what we say, opening of the post-caval vein is guarded by a valve. We call it as post-caval or inferior vena cava. We say it as a Eustachian valve, which directs the blood to the left atrium. That is also a big mistake. And let's take it out. Who is this? Right ventricle blood vessel arising from the right ventricle. Who is this?
Pulmonary aorta.
Pulmonary aorta. Okay, then from left ventricle, the blood vessel who get arised, that is left systemic aorta. There is a connection in between them. There is a connection in between them. We call that particular connection as ductus botalli. The connection is said to be ductus botalli. Now you think about that. What's the problem? I said already mistake. What is the mistake actually? What is the problem actually here? What's the problem? What do you think? So is there any problem if it all present like this? Any problem? Yeah, definitely. Definitely there is a problem. Definitely there is a problem. Let me name this ductus arteriosus. That will be the better name for this. Ductus botalli or ductus arteriosus. As the text mentioned, ductus arteriosus. Okay, so is there any problem? Lot of problem. Right atria contain deoxygenated blood, isn't it? Left atria contain oxygenated blood. If there is an opening in between them, the blood will get mixed up. Next, here also, right ventricle carrying deoxygenated blood, left ventricle carrying oxygenated, that both bloods get mixed up. And we are seeing the importance of oxygen partial pressure should be high towards the body part. We are seeing, isn't it? And we are seeing that particular deoxygenated blood, if they have low oxygen only, they'll get oxygen from the lungs. So whatever it may be, the blood should not mix up. Okay, so how does it is rectified? Let us rectify that during the process of embryonic development, we have such kind of heart, but as long as the heart is developing, as long as the heart is growing, that means in the embryonic stages, you may find such kind of small mistakes. Even we can't say them as mistakes. Why? Because they are all embryonic representation. Our ancestors are having like so. Who are our ancestors? Fishes, amphibians, reptiles, aves, mammals, all they are called our ancestors. So then you see here, it is closed. It is closed now. That particular foramen ovalis is closed. Now in the adult heart, we can say it has fossa ovalis. So this is the adult one or young one, heart of adult or young one. That means here at the time of birth, all these particular issues by the age of 10, all will be rectified over. You don't find any opening here between the right atria and left atria. And what is the one more thing we said? That valve of Eustachian. Valve of Eustachian is also going to be remnant, became vestigial. Valve of Eustachian became vestigial. Okay, valve of Eustachian, we'll write here, it became vestigial. And foramen ovalis is turned into fossa ovalis. Here, for your understanding, I'll say here, in case what happens, sir, if it is not closed? If it is not closed properly, what happens, sir? That we say it's a disease. If adult heart also, if it is not closed properly, if still there is an opening present, we call it as patent foramen ovalis. Patent foramen ovalis. In general terms, this is what we call heart hole. Hole in the heart. We say this as hole in the heart. You heard about this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is hole in the heart? Everyone have hole in the heart actually during development process. That should be closed over and all we have fossa ovalis. In any case, if it is not closed properly, if still it is making some blood from right to the left, we call it as patent foramen ovalis. Patent foramen ovalis. That normal general terms, we call it as hole in the heart. And what is the one more thing? Just I don't, no matter here, I'm erasing this. Just for your information, I provided this, that hole in the heart. And next we are talking about this even this should not happen, isn't it? Even this should not happen. That what's that? Right ventricle arising from the right ventricle pulmonary aorta, and from the left ventricle whatever get arise that we call left systemic aorta, even that should not have any opening in between them. Do you accept that? That even should not have any opening. Okay, so there is no opening now. When the grown, there is no opening. Then we can say at least there is something in the earlier stages to represent that a vestigial, that connective tissue you'll find over, we call it as ligamentum arteriosum. Ligamentum arteriosum. So mostly I just prefer to show all these visuals to you because all the visuals are hypothetical. That means here they are not exactly representing the original positions. But here we can understand by seeing the visuals easily here. A fibrous strand we call ligamentum arteriosum, which is a represented form of Ductus arteriosus of embryonic stages. Fossa ovalis of the adult, which is located on the interatrial septum, is a represented form of foramen ovalis of the embryonic heart. Valve of Eustachian of the embryonic heart became vestigial. Foramen ovalis of the embryonic heart became fossa ovalis. The connection which is there between the pulmonary and systemic arches, the ductus botalli or ductus arteriosus, is turned into a fibrous strand called ligamentum arteriosum. No more connection now. No more connection. Okay. So this is about this particular issue. Here in this case, we learned all that things related to some terminology, just some terminology where it facilitates to understand the issues well. What we learned here, foramen, first fossa ovalis and foramen ovalis. Fossa ovalis, foramen ovalis, that we learned. Fossa ovalis, foramen ovalis. That means you just link it up. Easily you can understand. Okay, we learned fossa ovalis, foramen ovalis, and about the valve of Eustachian. Valve of Eustachian we learned, and how it became vestigial valve, that in case of adult. That means here that is not having any specific function. That's why we said valve of Eustachian became vestigial. And one more, what is the one more thing we learned? Ductus arteriosus. Excuse me. Ductus arteriosus of embryonic turned into ligamentum arteriosum, vestigial. Yeah, ligamentum excuse me. Ligamentum arteriosum. Valve of Eustachian became vestigial. Is it clear? This complete screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if it is clear, we'll move forward. Which we are going to learn that nodal tissue, which is very essential for us to understand the functioning of the heart that we are talking about now. Nodal tissue. Okay, so what is nodal tissue? Nodal tissue. Here also, I am going to give a hypothetical diagram which explains this particular phenomena clearly. Here it is, that as usual heart again, our regular heart, that hypothetical heart. So a modified cardiac muscle fiber, which we can say a patch of tissue, which is located on the right upper corner of the right atrium. Right upper corner of the right atrium, near the opening of the superior vena cava. Address we are giving. There is a sinoatrial node. Okay. Nearly this kind of same kind of tissue will find one more here. We can say it as atrioventricular node, which is seen on the lower left corner. Lower left. This is lower and this is the left corner of the right atrium, that we can see atrioventricular node. From the atrioventricular node penetrating the septum, will find above on the interventricular septum, traveling along the interventricular septum, we have the, let me here, that spreaded over, we say it as bundle of His. From the branches, I know what it is, what is going on, what is this, why he is explaining all this. We'll come over the bundle branches. What do you say? Purkinje fibers. Okay, let me describe it first. Then after, I'll explain one after another. So let me show you first of all the sinoatrial node. Sinoatrial node. Address we need to see here about the sinoatrial node. Where it is, sinoatrial node. Sinoatrial node is a patch of tissue present at the right upper corner. Right upper corner of what? Yeah, right atrium. of the right atrium, right upper corner of the right atrium, that we can see sinoatrial node. Okay. Next, atrioventricular node. Atrioventricular node. Okay, so what is the location? Still it is there in the right atrium only. Lower corner, isn't it? Lower what side? Left side. So lower left corner of the right atrium, there is a atrioventricular node. Okay, atrioventricular node. Okay, next. What next? AV bundle, atrioventricular bundle, or bundle of His, we say. This is AV bundle. Atrioventricular bundle or bundle of His. We can say in the name of particular bundle, atrioventricular bundle. Okay, so atrioventricular bundle. Where it is atrioventricular bundle? Interventricular septum. Very good. Above on the interventricular septum, running along the length of interventricular septum, we can see atrioventricular bundle. So then after, it will divide into right and left bundle branches. We can say these are right and left bundle branches. These are bundle branches. Okay. So right and left bundle branches, they get branched over bundle branches, we can say. Okay. What all these are doing? This is the conduction of the heart we are going to hear. So bundle branches. So small minute fibers arise from that particular bundle branches. What do you call them as? Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers. Okay. So now let us see what is it exactly. What is it exactly? Generally, that who is going to transmit the impulses in the body? Means that information that I am moving my hand, I am moving my legs. Likewise, which part of the body is going to give information to the body parts? Brain, nervous system, isn't it? So that means nervous system is having capability to create the electrical impulses to any part of the body. It can suggest information, it can provide information, it can make movement of any part of the body, external organ, voluntary muscles we are talking about. But what is this exactly? Heart is no more control of the brain, particularly we are talking cerebral hemisphere. So that means there is no direct relation of initiation of the heartbeat to the our brain. Okay, you can try even now that send information to your heart to stop for a while. You can trust me, you can send it information, no matter what, nothing, no one going to listen to you. Send to your heart, send information to your left hand to raise up. So it was happened, isn't it? But similar kind of information you try to send your heart from your brain, that means here a part of the brain, cerebrum, we can say here. From the cerebrum, all these signals will go. If you send any signal to the heart, it doesn't, nothing going to happen there. Then who is creating heartbeat, sir? Heartbeat is created by sinoatrial node. What is this sinoatrial node? A modified cardiac muscle fiber. It's a modified cardiac muscle fiber. That means one of the muscle fiber acting like brain, acting and that modified into electrical impulses. We have some beautiful lines in Guyton Medical Physiology. What they say, there is no any other organ or a tissue in the body can create electrical impulses other than the heart, where heart is the only part which can create electrical impulses like the nervous system. Like nervous system, heart is the only part a modified part of the heart, can create the electrical impulses. So what you call it as? We say it as pacemaker. What is the function of pacemaker? Pacemaker initiate the heartbeat. Who is the pacemaker? Sinoatrial node is the pacemaker. Who is sinoatrial node? A modified cardiac muscle fiber. A modified cardiac muscle fiber. That requesting that student who is making noise to mute himself. Okay, so from the sinoatrial node, the electrical impulses are created. Oh my God. Sinoatrial node, the electrical impulses are created. You see where it is going? To the atrioventricular node. Your voice. Some radio is coming from your background. Atrioventricular node to the bundle of keys to the Purkinje fibers. Okay, information will go like this. Information will go like this. Okay. So now let us separate this. Let us separate this for your information. Contraction of atria. Here only I am saying here. Contraction of atria is called atrial systole. We say atrial systole. So during the contraction of atria, the atrial systole, which is happened here, during the contraction of atria, the atrial systole, which is happening here. So this atrial systole, how it will happen? Electrical impulse. Let me show you. So first of all, information generated in the SEA node. Remember, generated in the SEA node. So whatever the information generated in the SEA node, that will go to the all the cardiac muscle fibers. Did you remember we learned in our histology that one cardiac muscle fiber connected with another cardiac muscle fiber with the help of intercalated discs. Intercalated discs. Okay. So that means here whatever the cardiac muscle fibers are present, one is connected to the another with the help of intercalated discs. So first I am saying here, whenever the atria want to come in contraction, that information provided by electrical impulse is created here in SEA node, and that goes to one cardiac muscle fiber to the another cardiac muscle fiber with the help of intercalated disc, which promotes the total contraction of atria, we call atrial systole. Now, sir, how does ventricular systole happen? That means how does the ventricle contraction occurs? Ventricular systole, ventricular contraction. Let's make sequence for that. First of all, as usual, SEA node create electrical impulse because that is the only one which can create electrical impulse. You see the arrow marks, they are coming to the AV node, then it will be continued over to the bundle of keys, then continue to the Purkinje fiber, then through the intercalated disc, it will spread all over the ventricles. Okay, I'll explain this later, but just to understand how does a particular mechanism is running here. How does a particular issue is running here? That is very important here. Nodal tissue. Nodal tissue. That means, as we are seeing, SEA node, sinoatrial node. What we said about the sinoatrial node? Location we said. Where this particular sinoatrial node is located? On the upper right corner of the right atrium. On the upper right corner of the right atrium, sinoatrial node is located. Okay. So what is this? Modified cardiac muscle fiber. What is this? Modified cardiac muscle fiber. What it can do? Yeah, it create electrical impulses like nervous tissue. It create electrical impulses like nervous tissue. Okay. Then what it is called regarding that particular function, we call it as pacemaker.
Pacemaker.
Yeah, this is a pacemaker. It only generates heartbeats.
Heartbeat.
Initiation of the heartbeat done by. Okay. So that is the importance of the pacemaker. After that, from SCA node to the AV node to the bundle of his to the Purkinje fiber, that we can see as usual. And that interesting thing is here, the SCA node can create the electrical impulses for every 0.6 seconds. For every 0.6 seconds, it can create electrical impulses. So that in that particular regard, one heartbeat, that means here this is the maximum here. For every 0.6 seconds, it can create heartbeat. In that way, we can say here SCA node can create 100 beats per minute, a maximum 100 beats per minute. For 0.6 seconds, if it can create a beat, so maximum SCA node can create 100 beats per minute. This is the maximum heartbeats of the human being. So why human being more than 100, he can't show heartbeat means simply general heartbeat is 70 to 80 or 72 times we can say, which is generating nearly 0.8 seconds, you can say here 72 to 75, 0.8 seconds. But how much minimum time that it will take over means 0.6 seconds. So this is the minimum. So in that way, we can say 100 beats per minute. We are going to do all these problems, but just providing information here. Why not more than 100? That you can use your hand or legs by practice, that you can make your hand movement for 100 times, 200 times, or unlimited number of time by the practice. But by practice or by anything, we can't increase our heartbeat more than 100 beats, because that means that's the property of SCA node, which it can create electrical impulses only that the maximum we can say here 0.6 seconds. It can initiate 100 beats per minute. Okay, so that all the ingredients are ready for go for the functioning of the heart now. But before we go there, before we go that particular concept, let me till the time we are seeing only internal anatomy of the heart, isn't it? Internal anatomy of the heart. So just we have some information about the external morphology. That means external features of the heart. That means heart layers that we have to discuss. So that after that, then we'll go to that. Actually, which whatever you should say in the beginning, I'm saying in the ending. Heart is surrounded by two layers. Fibrous pericardium, outermost layer of the heart, we can say fibrous pericardium, and inner serous pericardium. Serous pericardium. Okay. So the serous pericardium. Serous pericardium is composed of two layers. Serous parietal layer, serous visceral layer. Serous parietal layer and serous visceral layer. And in between the serous parietal layer and serous visceral layer, we'll find some pericardial space, which is filled with pericardial fluid, which prevent the heart from frictions. Pericardial space. Okay. Next, wall of the heart is composed of three layers. Epicardium, myocardium, endocardium. So as it is, I am showing here that which will confuse us, the text information. As it is, I wrote here. But how many layers totally? Totally. From here itself, I said 8 layers only.
6.
Yeah, seems to be like that, but not like that. Not like that. I correlate with the diagram. That I am going to correlate with the diagram here. Let me show you first of all the fibrous pericardium. Okay, this is fibrous pericardium, which is made up of irregular, dense, fibrous connective tissue, which is so hard. Okay, what next? What next here? Next layer is going to be serous pericardium, isn't it? Not like that. Serous pericardium, we already made it in the form of serous parietal layer and serous Visceral layer. Yeah, the green one which I am showing here. Serous parietal layer, serous visceral layer. Okay, what next? Epicardium, isn't it? Serous visceral layer itself called epicardium. That was an interesting thing. Serous visceral layer itself called epicardium. So that's why serous visceral layer or epicardium is over. What next? What next? Myocardium, the blue one which I am showing here. Myocardium. What next?
Endocardium.
Yeah, what next? That is endocardium. Endocardium, we can say here. Epithelial layer it is, endocardium. Okay, now let's label all of these at once that you can understand clearly. This is fibrous pericardium. Fibrous pericardium, which is a hard layer which protects the heart. Okay, then what is this green one? Serous parietal layer. The green one, serous parietal layer. Okay, next another green one. Yeah, serous visceral layer, which is also called epicardium. Yeah, which is also called epicardium. Okay, next. What next? A muscle layer. Myocardium, we can say cardiac muscles, whatever the so-called cardiac muscle, till the time we said that is the myocardium only. And then endocardium. Okay, now you see, one fibrous pericardium, two serous parietal layer, three serous visceral layer. In between them, that we see the pericardial space, which is filled with pericardial fluid, pericardial space, which is filled with pericardial fluid, and then serous visceral layer, epicardium, which is even called number 4 myocardium, number 5 endocardium. Total number of layers is going to be 5 layers. Is it clear? Yeah. Now moving on. That last item here. That means from external view. We know human heart is having 4 chambers. That upper side 2 chambers are there, lower side 2 chambers are there. Upper chambers we called 2 atria and lower chambers we say 2 ventricles, isn't it? Then atria and ventricles are separated by a deep transverse groove. Externally we are talking about. Let me see. Let me write that externally. That internal side we are seeing from the beginning, from the last class onwards till the time we are already seen the internal side. So external side, that means when you see the heart from outside, you can see a transverse groove where between the atria and ventricle, there is a transverse groove called coronary sulcus. Coronary sulcus. Or is there between the atria and ventricle. That's why we can say atrioventricular groove. Isn't it? Atrioventricular groove, even you can call it as. Okay. So this is one of them, coronary sulcus or atrioventricular groove. Okay. Then the 2 ventricles are even separated by interventricular groove. Here also you can see a groove. Means outside also you can see a line which showing that there are 2 ventricles inside. Interventricular groove, we can say that there is a interventricular groove. There is a atrioventricular groove, or you can see there is an interatrial groove is also can be expected here. Okay. Then next, the ventricles are separated with these 2 are the interventricular grooves we can say here. Okay, these are the interventricular grooves. That is there on other side also, which I can't show at a time 2 sides, that we can say. Okay, so this is about particular external features. And one more interesting issue here, the atria will have some projection above on the ventricles. You see, atria is having some projection above on the ventricles, like the shirt overlaps the pant they are talking about. That means exactly the position which I am showing, it won't be like this. These are atria and these are ventricles. Okay, that shirt overlapping above on the pant. Do you accept this? Did you get imaginated the thing what I am saying here? our shirt overlaps the pant. That means here little portion of the pant also covered by shirt, isn't it? If you wear lalchi, more portion will be covered of the pant. So we call it as auricular appendix. So technically we say it as auricular appendix. What is auricular appendix? Muscular pouch-like projection from each atrium is called auricular appendix. Muscular pouch-like projection. As I said, this has a simply shirt overlapping on the pant. Who is shirt here? Generally, we wear shirt on upper side, pant on lower side. As much as I know. Yes, now you say what is shirt here? Atria. That means shirt overlapped above on the ventricle. Muscular pouch-like projection of atria above on the ventricles. We can say auricular appendix. Okay, just for information, not validated for examination, just for information. All these things is for information. So now, with this information, now we can move on to the functioning of the heart. That now we can move on to the functioning of the heart. If you don't have any doubts here, we'll move on to the functioning of the heart. Functioning of the heart. That before we go to the functioning of the heart, that you people need to know the basics, whatever we learned till the time. What are they? Number of chambers in the heart. Yeah, like that. 4 chambers. Upper chambers are atria. Lower chambers are ventricles. And our traditional diagram. That means here that you people need to practice, or I think you are well practiced actually. What right atria do, what left atria do, what right ventricle do, what left ventricle do. 4 questions. If you are enough good, got perfection in these 4 questions, you are going to be eligible for functioning of the heart.